Good evening. It is the 1st of November, I think. It's a Wednesday and I have this weekend got my colonoscopy. Now, I don't expect that this vlog will be for everyone, but one of the things that I've always wanted to do on this channel is talk through any kind of health things. I've watched vlogs myself, people preparing for procedures and things, and it's one of the things that I wish I'd done a little bit more of over the past few years. If you're new here, I did have a total abdominal hysterectomy nearly 4 years ago now. Yeah, I had it in January 2020 and I vlogged all of that. I will leave those videos below if you didn't see them. But I only I've been a bit here and there with videos this year, let's just say that. Everything's been a bit all over the place. And so I am going to try, where possible, to take you through the prep, because I have realised that I have quite a few people that I interact with that have been through this procedure, know exactly what is coming, what the prep work is like. And I think on the flip side of that, I probably have some people that watch me that don't, and this may be a procedure that you go through yourself one day. And I'm obviously not going to take the camera with me into the procedure, but I will talk you through as much as I can leading up to it as possible. So for those of you that are new to this video, I'm having a colonoscopy because I have been... The long and short of it is, I was first diagnosed with IBS at 13 and I'm 33 now. So that's 20 years of my life. Along with that diagnosis, I also had really horrendous periods growing up, to the point that I do remember sitting in my ICT GCSE exam feeling like I was going to cry because my whole body was just in agony. And obviously wasn't much I could do about it. I remember crying in PE lessons and being told by well-meaning PE teachers that exercise was good for periods. I just remember as well being told that it was normal. My mom also had really heavy periods, and it wasn't until now that I'm older that I'm like, damn right, this should have been investigated sooner. However, this is just me kind of giving you a wrap up of my medical history. I then how old would I have been when I started college? 16. Came down with glandular fever and spent a couple of weeks in hospital. I had it really bad. It affected my liver, and at one point they were looking at transferring me to intensive care because they thought that my kidneys were shutting down, but I came through that. But ever since then, I haven't been right. And I've never, until the kind of past few years, ever like put those two things together. But I then left home and went to university and spent the first couple of years at university trying to keep up with everything, trying to go out partying, trying to keep on top of my studies, and just getting more and more drained and presenting more and more at the doctor with pain and things like that. They then found that I had gallstones, had my gallbladder removed, thought great, that will be the end of it. A year after that, I had my first ovarian cyst removed, which at the time they just drained. Within a couple of years it grew back, and at the time I was in and out of hospital quite a bit between having my gallbladder out and now. Some of the things, there's been a lot of kind of gynae related things leading up to my hysterectomy. And also I was under the surgical team for gastro a lot. And one absolutely lovely doctor told me that I couldn't really be in pain because I was on my iPad when he came round for ward round. I was actually on the car map trying to breathe through it, but we won't go there. So a few different A&E admissions, a few different trials of things. I ended up having another cyst removed, I think before my hysterectomy, I had 6 or 7 procedures to remove cysts. One of them had to be a, what's the word? An orpharectomy. I had a left salpingo orpharectomy, which meant that they took my left ovary and fallopian tube. But again, the remaining ovary just kept growing cysts. Now, actually, this is going to sound really silly, but my last cyst, before I ended up having the hysterectomy, I Googled the dimensions of it, and this is what came up. So that was the size of my cyst, right? So that was a really silly purchase that I made, but I'm going to hang on this cyst forever because it just shows me. So I don't know if, I'm hoping that it's showing how big it is. Like, look at that compared to the size of my head. If you bear in mind that an ovary is the size of an almond, that shows why I was in so much pain. I was also admitted once with pancreatitis. I have been under the care of my GP team for years now with lots of little things. One surgeon told me that it was endometriosis. Another surgeon said that it wasn't. Another consultant said that it was polycystic ovaries. Another said that it wasn't. So, I don't know. That is where we are at. And over the past, so year before, 2022, I ended up having my appendix out. The year before that, I think the end of 2020, I had a mental infarct where part of my bowel was, I don't know how to explain it. And I have also had CTs. I've been in A&E a few times with partial blockages, and CTs have shown that part of my small bowel was kind of backflowing. So I've had a lot going on. Oh, and I've had a kidney stone in all of that. And so the long and short of it is, we don't fully know what is going on with my body other than it is broken. I had to laugh because today I have spoken to the HR department at my new job that I'm going to. I will talk about that another time. And I was telling her all these things and I kind of laugh, and people go, oh my God, you're so upbeat for all the things you've gone through. And it's like, yes, this is how I deal with things, but also no, it's a lot. I am working on these things privately. I'm not always this upbeat about it, but that is by the by. So back in August, I had a SACAT scan, and that was to check my bile acid malabsorption. I still don't have the results of that. I am trying to chase them up, but hopefully once I've had this colonoscopy, that will trigger for my consultant to get back in touch with me. I am trying to find out what my consultant's name is because I don't know, and then I can chase up their secretary. Anyway, that whole point of this video, so there's the background story for you. Symptoms that I deal with a lot at the moment, I get a lot of cramping type pains. I know that from the adhesions that I've got, I do get food stuck at times, which really hurts. I have to be careful if I'm eating anything with like skins or anything particularly fatty that won't break down, as I know that there's parts of my bowel that are narrowed. When I had my appendix out, the consultant said to me that my insides were a mess, which was nice of him. I like it just being, what's the word I'm looking for? I like people just being straight with me. So in order to have a colonoscopy, for those of you who don't know, I'm really hoping if you've clicked on this video you know what a colonoscopy is, but basically it is a long tube with a camera that goes up your bottom and all the way along your colon. I've had one of these before years ago, and I think that I had to tell them to stop before they got to the end of it. Now, things have definitely changed because I've already read in my pack that I will be offered pain relief and sedation, which I'm pretty sure that I wasn't offered before, and it was excruciating. But that was over 10 years ago, so I'm hoping that it's just that things have changed. Anyway, So my pack came today. My appointment is at 1 o'clock, and yeah, I'm going to have a fun few days leading up to it. So the first 3 days, let me show you this. So the first three, the next 3 days, so from waking up tomorrow until, what time is it tomorrow? From waking up tomorrow until 6 a.m. Saturday, I think, or maybe lunchtime. Anyway, I have to have a low residue diet. Now, I've spoke about low residue on here before, but this is the long and short of it. I'm just going to hold that there because I'm not going to read everything out. So if you want to pause it, you can. But basically, this made me laugh more than anything. It's like fruits and vegetables, none. Food to avoid, all fruits and vegetables. I can eat plain biscuits. I can eat cheese. I can eat fresh, frozen or tinned fish. I can eat boiled, poached or scrambled eggs, but not fried eggs. I can't have potatoes with skin. I can't have any kind of potato, pasta and rice products that have been cooked and are eaten cold, like potato salad. This isn't too difficult for me as I stick to a pretty much low residue diet anyway, but I am just having to double check some of the things. Like, I'm not allowed peanut butter, and I do have peanut butter normally, and I usually have fruit and vegetable juices or smoothies, but I'm not allowed any of those. I'm allowed Wotsits, Skips or Quavers, which I'm excited about. And then I am allowed to have, it says I have to have 2 to 3 litres of fluids a day. And then this is the bit that I'm not looking forward to. This is the bowel prep, and because I'm having an afternoon procedure, I will take so the day before my colonoscopy, I have to stop taking all foods at 3 p.m. So that's on Saturday. From 3 p.m. Saturday to when I get home Sunday, I'm not allowed to eat anything. I'm allowed to drink clear fluids up until 2 hours before, so that's till like 11 a.m. But I have to drink this. Now, this is a sachet. It reckons, so I've got one. I've got one dose that is a mango flavour and one that is a fruit punch flavour. So I will let you know if they taste anything like that. But the thing that I'm really worried about is that we only have one toilet here. Luckily, we have a commode, which will be there in case. But it literally says on here, you will have lots of watery bowel movement, so stay near a toilet. That's in bold, because you may need to use it urgently. And I have had to do bowel prep before. I had to do it before my my hysterectomy. And I can tell you that when they say stay near a toilet because you may need to use urgently, I'm going to count. Okay, so from 6 p.m. Oh, and then my next one I have to take at 6 a.m. So Saturday night, I'm going to be sleeping on the sofa because there is absolutely no way of getting a good night's sleep, is there? When 6 p.m. I have to take the first one, sipped slowly over 30 minutes. I do like it says on here, try using a straw. Once dissolved, the solution can be refrigerated. It's like, oh God. So I'm obviously not going to take you into the toilet with me. I'm just going to let you know how I'm feeling. And I will take you along for as much of the kind of prep as I can. Like I said, I don't think I can take you into the actual procedure. I am going to take sedation. I'm going to take anything they'll give me. But I just feel really apprehensive. And to anybody that's not chronically ill, this probably won't make sense at all. But actually, I'm really worried that they're just going to say that it's all clear, because all clear doesn't invalidate the pain that I've been having, but it feels like we'd be back at square one. Like, I obviously would be really, really grateful that they don't find anything serious, but there's just this part of me that wants them to find something that they can say, yep, this is what it is and this is what we're going to do. I try not to weigh myself, and I don't talk about weight here where possible because I know that it's triggering, and I'm not going to talk numbers. I don't actually know my weight at the moment, but I know from my clothes and things that arms, legs and things are smaller, but my stomach is so swollen all the time that I feel a lot bigger, and anything with a waistband is a no-no at the moment. That said, I don't know what I'm going to wear to my appointment. I am slightly concerned that the hospital in question is like a 30-minute drive from our house, but I do know along the way where there is a Tesco, a KFC, a McDonald's and a Sainsbury's that we can stop at if needed. Yeah, I've been rambling on for nearly 20 minutes now, so I'll hopefully try and cut this down. But yeah, if you're interested to know how the prep goes, any kind of hints and tips I can give you, if you're somebody that's had this before or is having this and there's anything that you think would help people, please do leave it in the comments, because if this is anything like my hysterectomy vlog, it won't be madly popular, but it'll be, people keep coming back to it. Yeah, so I am going to go for now, and I will be back with you tomorrow to show you what I'm eating on low residue day 1. So I started off day 1 with a coffee made in the coffee machine, which was really nice, and then I went on to have these bagel thins, eggs and cheese, which I do in the air fryer. This is something that I eat a lot anyway, so it didn't feel too bad, and it came out looking gorgeous just like that. And then I had a cup of tea and a sugar waffle. I then had some yakult and some pancakes because I hoped that the yakult would help my bowel out. Still peckish, so had toast and seedless strawberry jam. And then for dinner I had this really horrible pasta. It was literally plain pasta, butter and some chopped up chicken. Started day 2 with a coffee and a snuggle from Bert, and then surprise surprise, a few more pancakes, and then a really plain chicken sandwich for lunch. I had a cup of tea and some custard creams in the afternoon. I was really cold, so warm drinks kept me warm. And then this dinner wasn't too bad. It was spaghetti and salmon, and then I had some dairy milk buttons and some more pancakes because they were just one of those foods that I was obsessed with. Started day 3 with jam on toast and a cup of tea again. Then a bowl of Cocoa Pops and another coffee. It really wasn't an exciting diet. Some jelly babies. Oh look, surprise, another pancake. Okay, so I'm just vlogging here. Victoria is on my screen somewhere. She's just popped off to do something, so she could be back at any moment. I am now in the free clear fluids only part of this prep, and luckily it is Victoria's 48-hour readathon, so I have something to keep my mind active. I don't feel too bad about it yet. I've been literally 42 minutes without food, which I can go a little bit longer than that, but yeah, I have to just have free clear fluids from now until tomorrow, and I start my prep at 6 o'clock. So yeah, I will come back to you then and let you know how I'm getting on. So what I did just want to say is low residue hasn't been too bad. Hello, Victoria. This is like vlogception now. Yeah, low residue hasn't been too bad, but it's just been really, really boring. I definitely thought that I'd cope better with it, knowing that I pretty much eat low residue anyway, but I wasn't allowed any fruit or veg. And the big thing that really got to me is that I wasn't allowed herbs, spices or anything. I could have salt. So like, for example, I thought, oh, I'll just have chicken and pasta one night, but it was just literally plain pasta. I did put a little bit of butter in it, but that was a good idea. The salmon wasn't too bad the next night because I could have honey on it, but oh my god, it's just been so boring, and it's only been 3 days, so I know it's a real first world problem to moan about it. But yeah, I just make sure if you're going to be doing a low residue diet for your prep, have a read of all the things that you can and can't have and plan a little bit in advance. So knowing that I could have, like, the pancakes have been great, seedless jam I was allowed, and just knowing that I had what sits and quavers in, because then they were again things that I was allowed. Just, yeah, I would really read what you're allowed. There's a lot of information online that is slightly differing, so I would just stick with the low residue diet that you're sent from your hospital, although mine did only come Wednesday, so I would have had to have gone out Wednesday night if I hadn't have already kind of known what I was and wasn't allowed. But yeah, so I'm gonna head off this vlog now and go back to my main computer to hopefully see some of you guys on Victoria's 48-hour readathon live. So I'm rushing a little bit here, ignore the state of the kitchen right now. I'm about to make up my prep drink 1. It's 4:30. I don't need to take it till 6, but it does say on the back that it can be made up and then kept for 24 hours in a refrigerator. So I figured by getting it done now, putting it in the fridge, hopefully will be a bit nicer. So this one, I just have to put 500 ml of water, stir until dissolved, and then put it in the fridge. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I've got into my pyjamas to just get a bit comfier. On the advice of someone on Instagram, I have smothered my bottom area in Vaseline, something that I didn't do last time, but apparently it helps to use this before and after, so thank you so much for that tip. I've got my prep drink. I've got to drink this first one slowly over the next 30 minutes. And it smells okay, but let's have my first sip. I don't know if this is the best thing to be doing live on camera, but at least I can edit it if I need to. Oh, that is horrible. That is salty and ugh. So I have to drink this, like I say, sipped slowly over 30 minutes. Then over the next 30 minutes after that, I just drink plain water. And yeah, then the floodgates will open. So it's an hour after I last spoke to you, and I'm not gonna lie, I have found taking that bowel prep horrendous. Now, I'm not a medical doctor. I don't know if what I've just done is okay. It said to take it small sips over 30 minutes and then drink another 500 ml of water. Well, after about 10-15 minutes of the sips, I thought I was going to be sick. So I've been taking a sip of the bowel prep, a sip of the ice cold water, a sip of the bowel prep, sip of ice cold water. Now, you probably can't see in this, but that's how swollen I am at the moment. I literally look about 9 months pregnant right now. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make up tomorrow's bowel prep because it says you can store it in the fridge. So I figured giving it like 10 hours in the fridge might make it a little bit more palatable. And I'm going to go and suck on some lemon sherbets. I'm in a lot of pain with my stomach right now, but I have watched other people talk about doing bowel prep and they haven't had much pain, which I'm having, but that might just be because with my adhesions and everything, I have a lot of stomach pain anyway, and this is just exacerbating it. So yeah, let's see how we get on. Good morning. It is just after 6 AM. and I've got to take my second prep drink. I'm not gonna lie, I'm really anxious about this. It was horrible last night. I literally spent about an hour taking my prep drink, trying not to be sick, because obviously if you're sick it defeats the point. So I'm gonna put some YouTube on while I do this, and one tip that I have found that really did help last night was to have my prep drink and a second bottle of something that's nice tasting. So I've got some orange squash, quick drink of the prep drink, quick drink of the squash to like swell it out, then take a breather and repeat the cycle again. Toilet wise, it wasn't too bad last night. I'm sorry if this is too much information for anyone, but you have clicked on a colonoscopy prep vlog. Literally within about 15 minutes of finishing the drink, I was basically weeing out of my bottom, so that's a strange sensation. Yeah, right, I'm gonna go and do this now, and then the next time I see you, I'll probably be on my way to the hospital. So I'm in the car now on the way to the hospital. I think the last time I spoke to you was about 6:15 this morning, so that'll be fun for editing me to see what I actually said. This morning's prep didn't seem as bad as last night, but one symptom that I have googled and is something that people get is I felt so cold. Now I'm not a cold person, and after both lots of prep I was like shivering, teeth chatteringly cold, even though I was wrapped up in a duvet and big comfy bed socks, so that was fun. I think my total, I think I went 5 times after the prep last night, and I think it's been about 8 since the prep this morning. But I'd say we've been in the car about 10 minutes now. We've got about another 10-15 minutes to go, and I'm doing okay. We've got a couple of stops along the way where we could stop if we needed to, and I am wearing a massive pad just in case. I don't know how much I'm going to show you when I get to the hospital, so the next time you might see me might be post procedure, but I'll let you know how it's gone. I'm just about to go in. I've just got changed. I've got my sexy shorts on with a hole in the bum. I've decided to try and do it with just gas and air and not the sedation, but she said at any point I can change my mind and have the sedation, so I'll let you know. Good evening. So the reason I'm looking so peachy is because I had the colonoscopy without sedation. Now, I was adamant before I went there that I was going to have sedation, but anyway, we turned up, and the endoscopy department that I was having it in is like a porta cabin near the hospital, which was run by InHealth, and I was a little bit apprehensive about that, but honestly everyone there was fantastic. I was the first slot of the afternoon, and I would definitely say if you get a choice like I did, they asked me if I wanted morning or afternoon. I said afternoon, and then they asked me what time, and I said 1 o'clock, which was the earliest, and it was great because the room was all ready. I wasn't waiting for like the patient in front of me and things like that, so that worked really well for me. So we got there, I handed over, they send you some forms to fill in before your procedure, and handed them over, and then I went to be admitted by the nurse, went over things like allergies. One thing she did ask me, which I didn't know, was she asked me what the prep was that I'd taken. So just make a note of the prep that you're sent, because apparently sometimes it can be a different department that sends out the prep, but that was fine, that wasn't a big issue. And then she asked me if I was going to have sedation, and I said, look, I said, I'm really nervous. I said, I have chronic abdominal pain anyway, and I'm really nervous that I'm going to struggle with it. So what she said to me was that if I wanted to give it a try without sedation, we could do it with just gas and air, and at any point I could say, no, I need the sedation. So I'm not gonna lie, it was painful. So they get you, I think I showed you a clip of this when I was waiting to go in. I will just say, right, so this is what I'm wearing today. So I have, these are maternity leggings that I always wear for any kind of procedure. I've got a vest top on underneath, a little jumper, and this cardigan, and I'm so glad that I went this way. I was going to wear a dress because, you know, I wear dresses, but actually she said to me to keep my top half on, so I took this off because I was a bit warm. So I had like a vest top, I had the Dignity shorts, which are the weirdest thing, but they're so much better than the hospital gowns because they are literally like little paper shorts with an elastic waistband that has a hole in the backside and a flap that goes over it, and yeah, that was great. I'm sure last time I had my colonoscopy, I mean, it was about 10 years ago, but I'm sure back then I just had a gown. And then They were talking to me throughout. It was a nurse endoscopist, and then there were 2 other kind of nurses in the room, or healthcare assistants. I'm not totally sure whether they were nurses or healthcare assistants, but there was 4 of us in the room, and they had a blood pressure cuff and a SATs probe on all the time, gave me the gas and air, and just explained to me that if it was painful, take a big deep breath. Now, I don't remember much of the first bit. I remembered the camera being inserted, and that bit wasn't too painful, but when they get to the top of your colon here, they have to kind of do a kind of loop the loop and round, and that was so painful. I was taking big long breaths, and I was going ow, ow, and I kept thinking to myself, I'm gonna have to ask for the sedation, I'm gonna have to ask for the sedation. And then just when I thought that I couldn't take it anymore, the pain kind of eased a little bit, and I felt really dizzy. And she was like, okay, if you want to take a break from the gas and air, that might be why you're feeling dizzy. So I started taking some deep breaths of just normal air, and yeah, the spots cleared, and I felt quite relaxed. And from then on, it was just uncomfortable rather than painful. They go all the way up, across, down. It's meant to be till they see the appendix, but I don't have an appendix. And then they also go just a little bit into the small bowel. There was no inflammation. They didn't see any polyps or anything. It looked quite a healthy bowel, which I am really pleased about. I thought that I'd be more upset that I feel like I'm back at square one, but it's just another. So now, they did take biopsies, and I need to wait for the biopsies to come back. But I'm so grateful for my health right now, that although I do still have chronic illness and I have a functional bowel disorder, it's not anything more sinister than that. That said, I understand how it can feel sometimes, that if they say we haven't found anything, I'm still waiting for my SACAT scan results, so I need to chase them up. But I, in the past, would have really spiraled into, oh my God, they're saying it's all in my head. They're saying that, and it's like, no, I know what my symptoms are. I know that I struggle with them, but at least now I know that I'm not doing myself any harm by trying out different diet and trying out different like herbal remedies and things. So my amitriptyline has really been helping. I've been on that about 6 weeks now. And the best part of having no sedation was they wheeled me back into the room, and he basically was like, lie there for a few minutes because the gas and air has made you a bit dizzy, but once you're feeling okay, you can go. So I literally got up, got dressed, and went. So if I'd have had the sedation, I would have had to wait, I think it's an hour after the procedure, to make sure that I've not had any side effects of that. And I'm really tired, but that was from the prep last night. The prep, there is no other way to put it. It was grim. The taste of it was horrible. The best thing I did, and I did see somebody else on YouTube, I've watched quite a few people doing their colonoscopy prep to give me inspiration for mine, and the best way of doing it was to have your prep drink here, something that tastes nice here. I just had really cold water this morning. Sip, sip, down, sip, sip, down, and really take it as slow. Don't try and force yourself to drink the prep as quickly as possible, because you won't keep it down. Another tip that I was given on Instagram, which has been the best thing I've ever done, was a Vaseline in and around the areas before you take the prep, and at any time during the prep that you feel sore. And actually, I'm a little bit sore now. I'm a bit crampy and I'm being really careful. Like when I came out, the nurses were like, what are you going to go and have to eat as your first meal? Because I hadn't eaten in 24 hours. And I was like, I think I'm just going to have something really plain. So I'm going to build up again and try and build back up to a more rounded diet. But I am going to stick to my kind of plain diet for a few days. Although I'm really happy to be able to put herbs and spices into it. And yeah, that's that. So we carry on now. I am going to start a proper symptom diary again, because I need to do, there's kind of, I find with my IBS personally, there's kind of 3 areas to it. There's the diet side, which is, there's not a lot that I can't eat, but because of adhesions, especially within my small bowel, I know that if I eat like too many things with skins, they will get caught and that will be painful. I also need to get around the anxiety part of it. I know that my yoga and stress relief stuff really helps. And then the third part of it is medication. And like I say, I've been on amitriptyline about 6 weeks now, and that does feel like it's definitely helping. I've had far less really big episodes, but for now I am just gonna go and get into my pajamas and get into bed. So if you've got to have this procedure, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not painful, but it's not the worst. It is over quite quickly, and the best thing you can do is gas and air and just focus on your breathing for that bit. It does it what, like I say at the beginning, I thought this is never going to end, but again, sedation is always there as your choice. And if I'm having an endoscopy again, which is the one that goes down your throat, I will 100% always have sedation for that, because I just can't cope with it being in my mouth. Whereas with the colonoscopy, because I'd got the gas and air to focus on, and I didn't feel like I couldn't breathe, because obviously, yeah, that is that. If you do have any questions for me, nothing is too much information, please do ask below, or feel free to direct message me on Instagram if you don't feel comfortable leaving a public comment. I'm going to wrap up this vlog here and hope I've said everything that I wanted to say. And until next time, look after yourselves. Bye.